Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. I am your co-host today, Jordan Comstock, and today we don't have Ben. We're all traveling and busy, and so we don't get to hang out with Ben today, but we miss you, Ben. We love you, brother. Today I got an awesome guest on our show. His name is Shane, and he is actually the host of Nothing But the Tooth podcast in the dental industry. And I met Shane down in Arizona at the Voices of Dentistry conference back, was it last month? And it was January.
Yep,
so,
late January.
Yeah. So Shane, welcome to our show, man. You're also the founder of Kristen Media, which is a dental marketing firm based out of Indianapolis. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the dental industry and how you got involved with starting Kristen Media.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, Jordan, thanks for having me on the show. It's I think what you guys here are doing is great, and I was glad that we got to meet up in Arizona at Voices of Dentistry. And I'm bummed that I didn't get to meet Ben, but maybe down the road, I'll get to run into him here as well. But Ben
always appears and disappears at those conferences. Like he'll show up and make his appearance, and then he'll disappear for hours, and then it makes sense.
Yeah, and I can't say I don't blame him. It was Scottsdale, Arizona at the end of January. It's pretty darn beautiful.
It was beautiful.
I thought about disappearing a few different times myself, but no, Jordan, I appreciate you having me on. So Kristen Media and how I really got started in dentistry. So I'm a graduate of Indiana University. Go Hoosiers! And nice. IU has a great dental school, and I was always I guess exposed to different students in the dental school and everything that was doing, but never really thought that I would be working in dentistry. I graduated with communications degree and kind of political science, and then worked as a journalist for a few years.
Oh, that's right.
Right after school.
And so I didn't read your full bio here, but I will post this in our show notes. But you also are you're a recipient of 2 Emmy Awards for your storytelling and journalism, right? You're gonna tell everybody about that, right? Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things that in journalism you get to do a lot of neat things. And I was in broadcast journalism. I worked in TV news, worked for some ABC affiliates, and so you get to travel around and meet a bunch of really interesting people and tell some awesome stories. And was fortunate enough to do that for 3.5 years, I believe it was, and had the success with the Emmys, which was a lot of fun and everything. But cool. I was really, what it came down to is I was looking for something. As corny as this sounds, I was looking for something that was just a little bit more rewarding, because when you're starting out in journalism, for anybody who's somewhat familiar with the industry, you start out in kind of the smaller markets and there's not as much news happening, so you get to tell more like lighthearted, fun stories. But then as you start moving up into larger markets, as I was beginning to do, it's a lot more what they call hard news, which is the bad news that's happening, and violence and those things. And so you find yourself at murder scenes and all this every single day, and it's just it takes a certain kind of person, I guess, to be around that, and I am not that kind of person, and I realized that pretty quickly. And so what I wanted to do was merge my storytelling background and abilities and I guess college, and be able to use that to benefit somebody or something, someone. And so I took a job at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University after that, and was doing marketing there, and was fortunate enough to learn from some of the best marketers who I see in the United States, and really started to become very passionate about branding and building a brand and messaging and all of these different things. And then with dentistry, what had happened is just I kind of knew somebody who was a dentist, and they were like, well, hey, would you like to do some work, for me to kind of help out my practice, get some new patients in here. It was kind of a startup. So I said, sure. and ended up that's kind of, all she wrote after that is really fell in love with what the industry is and the transformations that can take place there. But also I appreciate the challenge. And Jordan, you probably know this very well, but there's a lot of people out there who perceive dentistry as just some sort of commodity. And I could not disagree more.
Yeah, you're right.
That. So part of it was trying to change that whole idea that, we need to price shop, for our dental work and all these things, but you don't have that happening with, your medical doctor. So why do we have that happening with dentists?
Well, I always blame the PPOs because they kind of put that mindset in the consumers' heads where dentistry is a commodity, which it really isn't. Because I've worked in dentistry for over 15 years, and I started my career as a dental lab technician, and I know what goes into the making of restorative crowns and things like that, right? So it's like it definitely is not a commodity in my opinion.
No, and people, it's looking at it past, you're just getting a tooth replacement or a crown or whatever it may be. It's like looking at the emotional effects that has on someone and the difference that somebody can make. That's really what made me fall in love with it. And ever since then, we've been just focusing on dentistry, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right on, dude. Right on. So now you're stuck in this industry because once you get in, you can never get out.
Yeah, I guess you could. Put
so you gotta make it. You gotta make it good, bro.
We're trying here, and the cool thing about it is, when you're outside and you're not an actual dentist, you look at the industry and you think, well, how interesting, could it really be as far as like, the people and all the different things. I would never have known that there would be a CE event, which dental podcasters and when I first started this, so I'm like, as you get more and more in it and more people start to come on to the scene here, it's like super cool just like what is happening and how the industry has evolved with that. And so when you see these podcasters and videos and all these different things on dentistry, I'm like, this is sweet. I like what I'm seeing is it from a content standpoint.
Yeah. No, this industry is really good to even create content. I create content for this industry all the time from this podcast, right, to we're actually getting ready to launch what we call the Boom Cloud University, which is going to be a whole free course for dentists and their team to take and get educated on, creating and growing their dental membership programs. So there's a lot of cool content in this industry. That is for sure. So knowing that, I totally forgot that you were in journalism. So actually, I'm gonna ask some questions here at the end that I think can relate to your skill set there. But let's get started with some of these questions that I have for you. So today we're going to be talking about just marketing. Marketing is one of my favorite topics to talk about on our show here because, well, number one, I am a marketer and I love educating practices on marketing strategies and ideas. But number two, if you're going to reduce dependence on your PPOs, you want to make sure that you have a solid marketing strategy that generates, results for your practice. So this is why lately, especially, I've been bringing a lot of people on the show to talk about marketing and to help you, our listeners get some ideas on how you can help grow your practice or your membership program and reduce dependence on those dumb PPOs. So today, I got a couple questions for you, Shane. So with so many different marketing options out there, what platform should a practice focus on first?
It's a great question, and it's a question that I get most often because the issue with all of these different tools and platforms that we have now, while it's great, the issue is there is a lot of noise, and it's like, where do you even start? When you're trying to build a brand, because especially with trying to wean off of PPOs, or if you don't take PPOs, it is all about your branding and getting that right, because that's the way that you're going to attract that type of patient that you're really wanting. And so I always say, first and foremost, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
So let's define branding a little bit more, because some practices get it and others don't. And I just want to make sure our listeners get it. So when you say, start off with branding, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so your branding in our case would be, how are you viewed to your patients and to your prospective patients as far as, are you looked at as a, older traditional dental office in town that's, kind of family oriented, that's been around, or are you kind of new modern, sleek type dental practice that, kind of embraces being different and serves, younger audience, younger families? Or are you just looked at as kind of that authority figure in your community? And that's what I'm going to specifically talk about, is as a practice that is trying to, reduce dependency on PPOs, you need to do a really darn good job at positioning yourself as the, clear choice for any sort of, dental work that needs to be done in the community. So for example, being a cosmetic dentist or a general dentist, whatever it may be, you've got to, it goes with positioning, right? So the number one platform that you can position yourself right now, and I was talking to you about this earlier, Jordan, it's not the sexiest at the moment because there's, again, so many different options, but Google is still like the go-to search engine.
Totally.
That's what people go to, think about it. If you're looking for a new restaurant or a place to stay or whatever it may be, like, where do you go? You go to Google. And so if you have, a website that is, ranking at the top of Google, have great Google reviews and, all of these different factors, that's what patients look at, and that's what they see as, oh, he's at the top of Google or she's at the top of Google. Yeah, it builds instant credibility, even if, you could be the worst clinician in town, but if you have that, website up at the top and you have some good Google reviews, that's what people see and that's what people perceive. Yeah. And that's hard for some people to grasp in this industry, but that is the truth. And so it starts with an actual, search engine optimization and getting that done. Now, Jordan, here's the thing with SEO. I hear it all the time myself is, well, Shane, we invested in SEO and we got nothing. We got nothing out of it. And the bottom line is anybody can do SEO.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Anybody can do SEO, but it takes special skills to be able to actually rank your website at the top of Google. Anybody can go in and say, we optimized the images or we put some keywords and the meta tags and the meta, all this without getting too technical. But it takes a lot more than that to actually, feed this website to Google what Google wants to see so that you can get to number one, number two. And really, like, what that comes down to for us is just, finding great quality websites that can link to our clients' sites. Yeah. And whether it be, it could be an article on, here are, 3 things this dentist recommends if considering an in-office, plan versus your insurance or something like that. There are articles out there that are being written like this, and it is our job as our marketing company to then go out and say, listen, this is our client's website. They are doing this exact thing. They would be a great asset for your article. You should, make a reference to them, and, we get a link in exchange, and they get some quality content for their article out of that same transaction. So that is really the difference there, Jordan, between just doing, SEO and actually getting high authoritative links from Google based on relative topics to you and your practice that ultimately tells Google, oh, this website, which has hundreds, thousands of visitors every single month, is writing an article linking to, Dr. Simmons' office on this very topic. We're going to boost Dr. Simmons' office up in the rankings. That's how it works, and that's what we see time and time again.
So I'll explain this to my audience as well. I use these tactics. I shouldn't call them tactics, but these strategies, right? I use these strategies for here at BoomCloud. I write articles all the time for industry publications like Dentistry Today, dentistryIQ.com. I make sure that they're valuable. They're not just, they're not marketing articles. They are actual educational articles that we get published. We publish on all the other blogs out there like Revenue Wells blogs, Solution Reach, Weave, because all these people have traffic, of dental practices going to them. So you can take that same concept, or even have a firm do this for you, like yours, Shane. But where are your customers hanging out? Are they hanging out at, at a certain site? I know where all my dental pals are hanging out, right? Because you guys are reading articles on Dentistry IQ, Dentistry Today, all these other blogs that I write for. And then basically we get that authoritative link back where that's how a lot of people find out about it. BoomCloud is through links, whether it be, through the articles or through maybe I do an episode on a podcast and they write a little bit about me and then link back to my website. So we do these same things here at BoomCloud, and it works really well. It takes some time, but it's the best way to grow your search rankings in Google, in my opinion, and based off of my experience for doing this for years now.
That is absolutely true, and you're kind of just piggybacking off that. It starts with Google, but it doesn't necessarily in there. What we always tell people is like, listen, that's the first step in building this brand that you're wanting to establish in the community. But then the second part of that's a really it's underutilized in a way that is very effective. And that is Facebook. And Facebook has become pay to play anymore.
Yeah,
if you manage
really
a business page, you probably know that. You went from probably getting 20 likes on your pictures to about 2 anymore.
Totally.
And that's totally normal. I mean, it's just the algorithm changed. Facebook as a business, they want ad revenue to come in, and so that's really what it's become. But what we see, and the big issue is, somebody will say, they'll promote a post about join our in-office membership plan for only X amount of dollars per month, and they'll upload some like stock photo, and then they'll boost it out, and then they'll run it for 30 days and be like, well, we didn't get anybody come in off that. That doesn't work. Well, it's because you didn't do it effectively. I mean, again, it comes into building an authoritative presence in the community. And the great thing about Facebook is you can do that relatively cheap. So an example of what you could do right now today is you could record a 2-minute video explaining the benefit of an in-office membership plan and everything that you would get with that versus traditional insurance that you may carry that is very limiting on what you can and cannot get done in the office. And so you could list here are 3 things you could do with our in-office membership plan that you can't do with most of your dental insurances out there. I'm going to share those with you today, and just do a little video like that on your cell phone.
Totally.
And what you're doing then is you've created something that's interesting, because most people aren't very happy with their insurance. Most places have crappy insurance.
Totally.
And they'll be the first to tell you that. And the second thing is you're coming in as the good guy here, because you're saying, listen, we understand you're not happy with your insurance provider. We're offering a solution to that to help you out so that you can get the work that you need done at an affordable price to you. And so when you can do that, you can publish that out and, put $100 behind it and hit all that area in your targeted area, men, females, 40 to 60, whoever your target demographic is, and put that content out there. And then you can actually engage with people who only watched that video. So then you could record a second video and say, hey, here are 3 people who joined our in-office membership plan, assuming you get the okay to record this with them, and here's what they're saying about the service that they're getting from us and how it's been able to benefit them. And then you can hit that piece of content off the same people who just watched the first video where you're explaining the benefits. So it's doing things like that where you're actually creating your own little audience, your own little segment, and you can just start putting out content to them. And what you're going to notice is you're going to get a lot of more people engaging. You're going to get people who, I swear this happens with my clients, they'll get noticed in the grocery store as, oh, you're that dentist on Facebook. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens. And it sounds fun. I mean, it sounds pretty funny, but what happens when somebody is, they're having some sort of, issue and they need a dentist, well, you're going to be top of mind when you're doing that. So it's playing the long game a bit, but it's putting out some quality things out there.
But isn't that the better strategy in my opinion, the long game, right? I'm all about being committed to something, even if it takes longer than expected, right? Especially if it's a good idea, and especially with some marketing strategies, because sometimes you just need some time to figure it out. It just, in my opinion, based off of marketing companies in the past, right?
You're right, Jordan, because a perfect example of that. perfect example of that is, and not to hate on Groupon here or anything, but listen, you have a practice. If you've ever advertised on Groupon, let's say you get 30 patients off of one of those offer, how many of those patients come back again, or how many of those get another sort of treatment? Sure, you got them quickly, you got them in the office. But, a year from now, 2 years, 3 years from now, did they actually add to the practice? So that's a good kind of example of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, okay, so with all these marketing strategies, we want to build a brand. You want to build educational content like you suggested, right? And share it and everything. I mean, we do these strategies here at Boom Cloud, like I mentioned. How can a practice, how can they make their practice stand out in a local market, right? What's some key strategies there?
Yeah, well, and it goes back a little bit to what I was just talking about with the Facebook side of it is, making these short pieces of video, these content, like that's the first step really in doing that. Because again, if you look at, most of the, sponsored posts or ad posts that are out there, they are stock photos with, new patient exam cleaning, $99 and nobody's hitting on them. But if you're actually out there again as somebody who's putting out helpful pieces of information. So think about this. You're thinking, okay, helpful piece of information. What the heck is that, Shane? Well, what are questions that you get from your patients? Yeah. I mean, that's the first place to start is
I do this. I use the same strategy, brother. Like, it's crazy. What you're saying, I'm like, man, like this morning I had a call. I'll cut you off here for a little bit and then we'll come back.
No problem.
But this morning, one of my team members said, hey, this practice, they have an issue. There's a lot of like not rules, but rumors where insurance companies or insurance commissioners don't allow membership programs in certain states, right? And this practice was like really concerned. And they emailed my team, and then my team approached me. They're like, hey, how should we approach this question? And I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I'm like, I'll hop on the call with this practice and help them educate on some regulations in their state for creating and growing membership programs. Comes to find out, the insurance commissioner sent them an email and said, this looks like insurance. I wouldn't recommend like selling it, right? But then you look at the laws, and the laws in that state there's a law called direct primary care that allows practices to create membership programs and not fall under insurance regulation. But the insurance commissioner didn't know that, right? And the practice kind of knew it, but they didn't really know where to look. So they reached out to us. Soon after that, I'm like, man, this is a question that, we get every once in a while. So I went to we have a video guy that works on our marketing team here at Boom Cloud. And I went to him and I'm like, hey, Gabe, we got to do like a quick tip like right now. And we quickly recorded a video answering this question about, what happens when an insurance commissioner doesn't like my dental membership program? They say we can't do it. Well, we spent time and created some educational content on that based off of questions. So in the dental practice, you guys get tons of questions each day from your patients, that you can easily turn into maybe a quick video or a quick article that you can post on your website or post on social media, and help build that credibility and awareness that way. And that's the best kind of awareness to build, because you build trust and credibility.
Absolutely. You get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah. I like this stuff.
It is. I mean, and that's what you have to do. And the other thing that I think is, very important, especially as you're building these in-office membership plans, is you need that baby up there on the website, very prominent, so people can see it and think about, visually what that looks like, and how can you entice people to click on that and learn more about that. Because one thing that I see when I'm looking at offices, their in-house membership plan information is a little tiny tab
like
on their website. Yeah, and it's like tucked away, kind of like, yeah, it's here, but we're not real confident. I mean, that's what it comes off as, prospective pages. We're not real confident in this, but it's there for you just in case. It's like, no, like that baby should be at the top fold of your website when people come, schedule, right when there's a button to, schedule an appointment, call and everything. And then there should be something like, learn about our in-house, membership plan and how it can save you, X amount. There's whatever, however your messaging is with that. And I think it's like super simple, but that is something that like, it's a trend that I have noticed that, that is not prominently placed for people. And it needs to be, because be confident in that, because you are offering a great value
Yeah.
to your patients. And I think it first starts with you. It might be a little bit of a mindset thing, but it starts with you and your team truly believing that. You have to truly believe that this is going to benefit your patients, and you need to be proud in
Absolutely.
showing that off right away.
Yeah, well, and I want to give some of our listeners the other day, or a couple episodes back, we did an episode on the podcast called "The Value of a Membership Program," and we found that when patients are members, they spend between 104% to 240% more than non-members. So by hiding your membership program on your website, or not making it prominent, and that you're automatically losing like opportunity revenue, by doing that, because when you have more and more members, well, the average member spends 104% to 240% more than the non-member. So keep that in mind when you're wanting to market your programs. It's a really good strategy for your practice to do. So let's talk about this, Shane. Let's talk about some ideas. Where a practice, if a lot of my listeners, are creating membership programs and trying to reduce dependence on PPOs here. So part of reducing dependence on PPOs is creating a membership program, and reducing that dependence on more PPOs and cutting out the middleman, right? So what are some ideas that a practice can have to grow? If they specifically want to grow their membership program, I have a few ideas that I'll share, but I want to hear from you. Like, what are some ideas that you think a practice can do to grow their program?
Yeah, I think first what I would do is I would get a video produced in the practice. So you see these like practice type videos that are produced where they
Like
introduce
really
you to the practice,
high-end
like a
video?
high quality,
Okay, good.
like high end video. We've done several of these where those really, one, they break down the barrier between office and patient, because it is a lot of times for many patients intimidating booking a dental appointment, because they are so afraid of the dentist. And if it's their first time, maybe they had a family dentist for 30 years who retired, now they're getting a new one, they don't know what to expect, and they're nervous, all these different things. That kind of breaks down that barrier. But if you get that type of video made, but one just specifically about your in-office membership plans, I'm telling you that could be so powerful, because that is an opportunity for you to right away, start out with saying, here are the struggles, or the hardships of dental insurance. Like, this is it. I understand.
You can use the framework, the problem, agitate, solution. I don't know if you're probably familiar with that, with being in journalism.
Yes, exactly. Because you got to state the problem first, and a video would allow you to do that and say, listen, we have a lot of patients who come in here, and this has been an issue that we noticed over X amount of years we've been in practice, and whatever it may be. To say, listen, we are here to help you. We know that you want quality dental care, but you want it in a way that you can get all the work you need done at an affordable rate, and we're here to help you. We're wanting to introduce you to our, whatever your membership plan is or what it's called, and you can walk through the benefits of that. And this could happen in a minute and a half video. But if you have that together and you put that highly produced video at the top of your website, like I was talking about, that's going to generate a lot of interest, and you are going to see people calling and saying, I'm also interested in hearing about this in-house membership plan you have. Tell me more about that. And that's like the first step right there, is just getting people to figure out that you actually have it. So that's first and foremost. The second thing, Jordan, that I would say is taking that video and then sharing that out into a Facebook ad. And here's exactly how I would do it. If you are if you have patients who come, let's just say between a 5 and 10 mile radius around your practice, what I would do is I would take the video and I would put a couple $100 in ad spend behind it for maybe a 30-day period, and I would promote this post out to that radius that you're talking. We just talked about, to 30-year-olds up to 60-year-olds, whatever your ideal demographic is, male and female. And I would just post that video out there and see what happens. And I guarantee you're going to get some reactions. You're going to get comments on that. And just talking about, again, don't frame it as, hey, join our new dental membership plan, but focus it around, dental insurance is letting people down. It's letting our patients down every single day. That is going to get somebody's
way more
attention.
powerful. Yeah,
exactly. And then offer in the solution. So again, it goes back to what you said. So that is, the second part of this. And then I think the third part is sharing this out in the local community. If you have events that are going on, different apartment complexes and things have these new, move-in meeting or, festival things, or you have, if you're in a town that does a farmer's market or anything like this, I would think about getting a booth at one of these places, especially as you're starting out with this in-house membership plan, and, having all the information there. And again, having a big prominent sign that talks about, is your dental insurance letting you down? Here's the solution. And you're going to get people to at least come and have that conversation with you so you can start to plant those seeds and really educate them, because that's what it comes down to. And this, Jordan, is you just really need to educate your patients, because again, they know that their dental insurance really isn't working for them. I mean, they know that, and that.
They just don't know any other solution.
They don't know any other solution, and a lot of times they don't even know that in-house memberships exist. Like they just don't know that. And so it just having that conversation, those 3 ways right there that I just gave, that you can really start this. And it comes down to not looking, it's overnight. You're not going to get 100 people on this plan, but it's just consistently taking action on promoting it and talking to patients about it. And emails is great too. In-office emails are great, but it's just consistently taking the action I just mentioned over a period of time, and you're going to see it grow without a doubt. And once it starts growing, that's when word of mouth starts spreading. That's when referrals start happening, and other people start getting involved with it because they start to see the benefits.
And it really starts with taking action of creating the video, creating educational content, and going to setting up these booths and things like that. So I have some ideas that we're actually testing here. What every state has like their news, as you're aware, their news station, local news stations and local radio stations, and even local news sites, with articles and blogs. Could a practice technically, write an article about, why the problems with dental insurance and new solutions, to dental insurance, and talk about their membership programs and link back to their website, to their landing page about their membership program? I would imagine that would be a really powerful way to not only, get some real credible links, but to drive some awareness to the practice's program.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially if you're, the audience that you want to target for that specific platform is, families in their 40s and up. That would be like the ideal demographic there. And
which is a great demographic for membership programs, because most people that are retired or getting ready to retire, they lose their dental benefits, right? So they don't have any type of dental benefits. And if they were to go to get, insurance, it's way more expensive for them. So that would be a fantastic, group, a segment of people to reach out to. And what about even getting on like a radio station? And I mean, it's like what you and I are doing right now. We're doing an interview style conversation. Could a practice get on a radio, a dentist or an office manager get on the radio and talk about, the benefits of joining their membership program and why dental insurance is a pain for both patients and practices, and then share the link to the practice website and things like that. Don't you think that would be another great strategy, that using content, right? We're using content here to educate and share, really.
Absolutely. And coming from the news background, I can tell you, they're always looking for stories. Always. Oh, yeah. It's just about providing the right angle, and the correct angle is, coming at it of, insurance and, how it's just relatively not changed. I mean, that's the story right there.
That's a story.
It's a story. And so that's the way that you could, present that and pitch that. And I think that would be, organically, a really great way to get that story out there. And then, of course, the second option always is, if for whatever reason they don't want to do that story and you've reached out to, a number of different outlets, then you can always there's like the local newspaper, and then we have these like neighborhood magazines out here. I don't know. Yeah. So we have like those, and you can pay a relatively cheap price to have like a sponsored article on the front page, and that would be a great way to do that as well. I get one every month from some chiropractor around here who's talking about some solution to back pain that's non-surgical or whatnot, but that's a great way as well, and you could totally do that. And the great thing about it is most offices, I imagine, aren't doing that right now, and it's a great way for us to kind of have our voice here in dentistry and spread that message.
Yeah, I agree. So no, I think just the journalism, the content marketing ideas. That's honestly the best way to grow any business or any product or service, in my opinion, and based off of my own experience, right? Because I used to do this type of stuff for the dental lab. Writing articles and sharing information. And I think, much like you and I, what we're doing right now, Shane, sharing information and educating, practices should be doing the same thing, but towards their audiences, right? And that's really how you're going to grow your practice, how you're going to grow your membership program. So, okay, Shane, those are all my questions today, but do you have any other closing thoughts?
I just want to say, thanks again for having me on. And my closing thought would be, just having everybody make sure before you put forward any sort of marketing campaign that everybody in your office is on board and they are sold on it just as much as you are on growing the practice and specifically growing an in-house membership plan. And really what it comes down to at the end of the day is just have them talk to your patients about it. I mean, that's where a lot of times I feel like some of the things fall through the cracks is, the team may not be talking about it to the patients as they're in the office or they're, checking out or whatever it may be. Like, always be having that conversation. Make sure that everybody's on the same page before you implement some sort of strategy like this. And if you kind of check all those boxes, I'm telling you, you're going to be setting yourself up for success, and it's going to work. It just comes down to, again, remember, you're playing the long game and being consistent about it. And just like you mentioned, Jordan, take action. You can do this. You can make it happen.
Awesome, man. Okay, so if any of our listeners want to reach out to you, ask you questions, or even check out your services, where can they find that info?
Yeah, so you guys can always go to crimsonmediagroup.com. That's our website. You can always, there's a contact us button through that. And then if you also want to reach out to me personally, my email is ssimmons, SIMMONS, at crimsonmediagroup.com. And that's my personal email, so you can always reach out to me that way. Or, again, crimsonmediagroup.com, the actual website, in case you want to go there.
Sweet, man. Well, I appreciate your time on the show and appreciate your information you shared to our audience. So we hope you guys listening have a great day or a great drive if you're driving your car. And we look forward to chatting with you guys on our next episode. Rock and roll.